So the other thing that's been coming up recently, especially for me, actually, not really from anybody else, but what's coming up for me, which I'm really excited about, is how I feel this whole the whole beauty thing has changed with, and I might be in an alternate reality, but I think with the whole COVID thing, not just the COVID thing. When I say COVID, I kind of mean the whole global landscape shifting, and people waking up and people not wanting anything to do with the old Hollywood anymore, and with that is the illusions. Hollywood actually is a kind of plant that creates illusions, and that's why it's called Hollywood. So we want to be real, we want to be authentic, and we're like, I think there's an excitement in people who are waking up to not have to conform any longer to this sort of inauthenticity, this standard of seeing things that are so airbrushed and so overdone and so manipulated that everybody's basically turned into Barbie and Ken doll, or has that sort of animated cartoon-esque quality. That's where everything was going with all this fakeness and these filters. And I've never liked filters. I don't use them. I mean, I know my professional photographers, when they send me photos, they polish things up and stuff. But with my own photos, I just feel like I think it's weird. And I'm so happy now that I think we're disbanding with all of that. It's so refreshing. But here's the thing. This is the beauty of it. When we get rid of the matrix, we get rid of the false beauty and we bring back the true beauty. So the way I often explain to people what's actually going on in their intestine, one of the big questions, and bear with me, this will all make sense in a second, but one of the big questions I get is, well, what about all the flora, all the healthy flora? Aren't we washing that out when we clean the intestine, when we have our colonics, when we do the internal lavage, the what do you call it, the irrigation of the colon. And what I like to explain to them, I give them this analogy that the colon is like a landfill. So it's like a landfill on top of a beautiful garden. It's not until you remove the landfill that you find this gorgeous garden underneath. Well, in the same way, we remove the landfill, the matrix, this thing we were born into that has nothing to do with our natural being and everything to do with trying to turn us into a kind of a corporation, something a corporation can use, something that can be exploited, something that is objectified. And we take all of that out, and we disband with that. And when we do that, what we find is that when that's not all on top of us, it's not wearing us down and wearing our cells down, wearing our mind down, wearing our hearts down, so that we wind up embodying something that's kind of ugly. And that ugliness that we wind up embodying because of the matrix then, needs to be covered over by all these external factors, all these external substances, let's say, to excessive amounts of makeup and implants and surgeries and liposuctions and cellulite products and all this madness. All because why? Because the matrix was put on top of our beauty, and when we remove the matrix, our beauty comes back. But there has to be some faith there, and there has to be proper application. Again, I want to speak always about proper application, because it's not enough to have knowledge, even if it's the right knowledge, and it has to be complete knowledge, and it has to be applied properly. So I know so many people, I have so many clients, I have to say I have so many clients who still, will struggle with really important things. They'll be going in circles. So they'll have, they might have gotten the diet right, and maybe they're even doing plenty of colon cleansing, but they're not training hard enough. Meaning that they're not strengthening their body, they're ignoring the skeletal muscular system that needs attending to, or they're doing all those things, all the physical things are tended to, but they haven't done the emotional or mental cleansing and clearing yet. So it has to be all taken into context. And of course, I do my best to get them there, and they have great drive. But the matrix, we're both, they and myself, we're both working together for them against this juggernaut, this matrix thing that's so deeply embedded in them. So it takes a lot of work, and it's great to get one aspect, but we have to get all of the aspects in order to set ourselves free, to be truly sovereign, to extricate ourselves from this entanglement. So, this web, this matrix web, this dark net, it's caught us. The second we're born into it. We're like literally birthed into it. And that's admiralty law and maritime law, and not God's law, not what's called common law, not natural law. So we're born into the system, and the system exploits us to the umpteenth. It just will suck us dry if we let it. It's anti-energetic. It doesn't bring anything to us. It just sucks us out. It's parasitic. It's vampirical. So how are we going to have natural beauty in that? We can't. But can we have natural beauty? Is there? Yes, of course there is. So here we have this wonderful moment in time, as freakish as the whole thing looks, from a certain perspective. It's actually incredible. It's a complete changeover. It's a complete transition in our mentality, our ability to access what's really real in us. Imagine if we weren't born into that. What if we were born into something that was true and real, and only was only in with the truth of what the interconnected network of life is about? Then we would just be glorious, and that's where we're going. So to get to the excitement of getting back to true beauty, to real authenticity, to having also, when things are beautiful, they're full of the intelligence of life. And when they're full of the intelligence of life, they're filled with the substance of life, which is pure integrity. So things are naturally tight and taut, but not in a sort of a flexible way. It has movement, it has bounce, it has rebound, and that's what we should be. Our bones, our flesh, our teeth, our everything will be buoyant and carry the qualities of living systems, which are fluid, which are flexible, which are really immeasurably unlimited. Immeasurably unlimited. That's a lot of freedom and bigness in there. So that's where we can go with this. And that's just something really, really exciting about the removing of this illusionary beauty, this false beauty that is all having to be created to fix or to cover over that which makes a beautiful thing ugly by its falsity. So the false is over, and that's really what is at the crux of this. And the exciting thing that we are going to be able to be ourselves, be authentic, embody and radiate the beauty that is true. And as we turn back toward the interconnected network of life, it will make us beautiful. We don't need much. We need something to take the waste that comes off of our skin off, an alkaline soap, a pure alkaline soap. We need help to keep our skin lubricated and moisturized properly, which is just coconut oil or any plant-based oil you like, but a pure plant-based oil. And the essential oils, of course, are wonderful. They're filled with beautiful vibration, and they help to cancel out pathogens that might be in your field, because remember, pathogens aren't just physical, they're energetic as well. And really, we need very little other than that. It's very simple, because the beauty comes from within. And if there's filth inside the body, then that's the biggest thing that's going to make you look old and cause excess weight in the body and all the things that everyone wants to try to fix. But if you're eating cleanly, if you're eating minimally, not according to the matrix and all the food the matrix wants you to consume, which is way too much food, which is hard to get one's mind around. But it's just hard. It's important to repeat that over and over again, because as much as it's hard to hear, we are addicted to food, and we're basically born into a system that makes us addicted to food, and that is what's making us rot inside. There's all this waste that's rotting. So washing inside with colonics and enemas, washing the body externally and lubricating it well, and that's all you need to do. And because the state of the colon is always going to show on the face, and and that will be the organs too. The organs are going to be the organs will show on the face, and the intestine will show on the organs, and the cleanliness of the blood, of course, is paramount. So if we're not a cesspool inside, we won't be looking like death on the outside, or the early stages of death, decay, calcification, stagnation, etc. And it's funny because, as above, so below. You've heard that said before. The way what we're discovering, frighteningly, sadly, is that there is a lot going on underground. and the cleaning out, the draining of the swamp. We hear that. Well, as hard as it is to verbalize this analogy, it's similar in the sense that that which you see on the outside of yourself, we have a crazy world on the outside, on the surface of the planet. It's crazy enough, but that's only the tip of the iceberg, because what's happening underneath and what's happening inside your body underneath is a world of things that you can't even fathom are going on. And you think about dark forces and pathogens and parasites and viruses and fungus and mold, and this is all happening inside the body. You can't see it, but you've got to send in your militia to clean it out and to do battle with those. And you put in the herbs like wormwood and there's a whole litany of them, and I talk about them in my courses and things. But you have to send those guys in, and then you send the irrigation in, and you wash it out. And when you do that, what happens on the surface is so much cleaner. When we clean out what's happening under the surface of the earth, when we purify that, the surface of the earth is going to be so much more beautiful, and it's going to be so much easier to be out of that matrix, out of that which is not seen, that which is in the shadows, which is behind that which is visible, underneath, behind, invisible, in shadow. It's dense, it's dark, and it needs to be cleaned out. It needs to be dealt with, and the stuff that you don't see that's going on inside of you also needs to be dealt with. And when that happens, everything that's happening on the surface of your body, whether it's the symptoms of eczema or pimples or bad teeth or bad breath or stinky armpits or female hygiene issues, like all of that will go away, and all that will be hugely ameliorated. So this is what we have to understand. These as above so below. The body is like the earth. And we have to clean out what's going on behind the scenes in the body and in the earth. So hopefully that's helpful, and I hope you're as excited as I am about false beauty going away and making way for what we truly can be in all our beauty, and how we will define beauty so differently. So I can go on and on and on about that. Just the way we're programmed to see beauty in certain ways, and we get that from literally the programming, the TV programming, the movies, the rom-coms, all the stuff that we get from very, very early on. And, and how would we perceive beauty differently if we didn't have all of that? How would we perceive love and affection and relationships differently if we didn't have all that programmed into us from that perspective? And how much do we exploit and objectify ourselves and other people based on all that programming? Okay, I'm going to wrap it up now. Lots and lots of love.